Hey, good evening. Good evening. How y'all doing this evening? Hope everything is going well in your life. Hope life is treating you well. Good evening, Belinda. How you doing, my neighbor? Hope everything is going well with you. Thank you for coming in. Thank you for hold on for 1 second. Let me cut everything. If you can hear me and see me, if the video is coming through clear and the audio is coming through clear, please give me a thumbs up. Give me a thumbs up, y'all. Let me know everything is good. Man, the weather is changing. Is it me or is it you? The weather is definitely changing. We are definitely sliding on into fall. Thank you, Belinda. Thank you for confirming the visual as well as the audio. There's a lot of things that are going on, but period. Sometimes I like to just check and see how my audience is doing. And so this live is dedicated to you and checking in on you to see how you're feeling, how life is treating you, how you're doing. There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on. And it's so much information. It's so much updates. It's so many things. No matter where you are or what you're thinking about, what you're doing, um, this internet, this life, this weather, this whole environment is like on tilt. Everything is just going so rapidly, it's just so fast. Y'all put some T's in the chat. Kathy B, how you doing? Bless up, bless up. Good to see you, Kathy B. How you doing, Kathy B? If you are thankful today, thankful for life, thankful for everything, no matter what your circumstances are, you're thankful, put some T's in the chat. If you're thankful, put some T's in the chat. Come in, being thankful, come in, giving praises to the Most High, because we know no matter what our situation is, uh, we're still blessed. I mean, regardless of our situation, we still have an opportunity, no matter whether it's good or whether it's may not be so good. We got an opportunity to just change things. And I just want to fellowship with my audience today. I want to fellowship with you today. And I just want to talk it out because sometimes in life, we don't have people that we can really talk to. We don't have people that we can really conversate with. Or sometimes we bottle up so many things in life that we really don't take the time to just kind of communicate those things. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to vibe out. We're going to kind of go through the things that are going on, the obvious things, a lot of the news, a lot of the media. And we're going to talk a little bit about homesteading, a little bit of life in homesteading. And my, my recent posts, y'all have seen the chickens, and we're going to talk a little bit about the chickens. Uh, a lot of y'all have poured in to that comment section and also have sent me messages telling me or informing me about solutions and different things like that. I really, really appreciate you all. And then we're gonna also talk a little bit about some of the families that's going through this destruction, y'all. If you are not going through this, it gotta break your heart to see so much destruction and so many people who are struggling out here. And like I said in the beginning, the weather has changed and it's going to get a little bit harder. And I hate it, but it's true. It's going to get a little bit harder. And we need to make sure that we send our thoughts and our prayers and anything that we can do out to those who are assisting and helping those people that have been affected. And it's much more than North Carolina. It's much more than Georgia, much more than Florida, South Carolina, and the other locations that may not be publicly known. But we need to think about them. We need to truly send up prayers for them. What's going on, family man? Bless up, bless up, bless up. What's going on? Good to see you. Seed, soil, and sunshine. Seed, soil, and sunshine. What a beautiful thing all together. Yes, camping tonight. It would be cold. You thankful. Enjoy. Hopefully the skies are clear. Hopefully you can see the stars. Hopefully you can breathe a little bit easier with that cooler weather. hopefully you can snuggle and just be comfortable within your space and enjoy where you are right now. So many blessings to you as you do your camp night. Shy, what's going on, Shy? Good to see you, Shy. Always good to see you. Bless up, bless up, bless up. Shy is definitely thankful. She came on in. She's thankful. She's coming in with the teas. She's quadrupling the teas. She's thankful. She's so thankful. And we ought to be thankful no matter what we're going through in life, y'all. Let us make sure that we're thankful for what's going on. Because no matter what situation you're in, yes, we know it can always be worse, but there's always tomorrow. There's always the next day in which our situation can improve. Or even if you're going through just amazing, beautiful times, embrace it and enjoy it and be grateful for it. So see, so sunshine, killing the teas. That's what's up. That's what's up. Be thankful, y'all. Send up those praises. Send up those praises. Send up them blessings, Kathy B. Send them up because I'm telling you, this storm, and y'all pushing me into talking about this storm. There's some things that we ought to gather from watching people go through this storm. And these teas, your words, your mind, your spirit, send up timber. Send up timber to places that you can't physically touch and see. Your gratitude communicates to powers that we can't feel and we can't touch, but we know that they're there. I shouldn't say can't feel. I should say can't touch. As far as when I say feel, I'm talking about tangible touching, right? But you got to understand that you got to send blessings up in spite of whatever your situation is. You got to send blessings up. One thing that I have definitely learned through these storms, because I'm not going to talk about the devastation, the loss of lives. I'm not going to talk about the bad situations, what caused or whatever. But let's talk about what can we take away. And I want y'all to put it in the chat. Based on what we've seen other people go through, what can we take away from that? What nuggets can we extract that we can add to our lives to take and build upon that and teach others? One lesson that I definitely learned is a lot of this stuff, which I've definitely learned with this transition from selling everything and then still had abundance of junk and mess, and then trying to keep it and maintain it and still to let the bugs, the weather, the moisture, everything destroy it. And thieves come in and take stuff. I mean, y'all know the journey. Y'all been here. You know that my business was stolen from me. We know that destruction and water and damage and wind, all of that stuff had destroyed a lot of stuff I worked for years. And it's gone. And we're watching so many people going through the same situation, right? For me, it tells me, stop putting so much energy into stuff. Stop putting so much work and time into stuff. Stop keep consuming so much stuff, because regardless, it can be taken from us at any moment, at any time. And guess what we got to do? We got to regroup and we got to find a different way. For us in Florida, we're used in so many ways. I'm talking about people who've been in Florida for decades. I'm not talking about new Floridians, but I'm talking about Floridians, South Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, people, Louisiana, people who are used to having storms and things being taken away from them. But mainly, if we all agree, in the South, Florida experienced it. My dad lost everything in Andrew. He had his favorite boat that we used to go out and go fishing in. His boat was a block over in a palm tree, lodged in a palm tree that probably was about 20 feet up in the air. His house was destroyed. All of his stuff that he had was destroyed. He was a maintenance man. He was a man that worked with his hands, right? Everything was destroyed. And people don't think about after things are destroyed, you still got to have a job. You still got to have bills you got to pay for. You're paying for stuff that you no longer have. People got cars that was flooded and destroyed, and they still paying payments. But they still got to get another car. Some people had boats, tractors, side-by-sides, chainsaws, all this kind of stuff that was washed away, and they still got to pay for it. Some people have homes that was destroyed, and insurance are threatening them that if you're not up on your payments, if you're not, it's all kinds of crazy stuff that just pops up in the midst of when you're going through these situations. And that's the thing about life. Life is about resiliency. It's about how do you find the inner strength to keep pushing on when there's nothing to work for, nothing to go on. Robin, the bank. What's going on, beautiful? What's going on, my queen? What's going on, baby? Good to see you. Always good to see you. Belinda praises up. All people will come and stand together. Yes, they will. It's funny, you know, we talk about we don't know our neighbors, our done lives. Where we talk about, do you know your community? Have you established your community? You know your people? And we're watching people who are in rural areas who don't talk to their neighbors. Their neighbors may be miles away or maybe acres away, and they don't even know them. Now imagine being trapped for weeks upon weeks, and people don't even know you live up there. They don't know whether you're there or not. This is why I'm saying, I get it. I get it. We love to be reclusive. We love to be in our own little area. And I kept saying, somebody commented and said, I don't need my neighbors. I haven't asked my neighbors for nothing. And it scared me, right? It shook me, it rocked me, right? But let me ask you a question. If something happened to the people that feel like that, something happened to you, whether you was trapped or you was in a bad situation or you needed some medicine or you needed water, you needed food, you needed to be rescued, and you say you do everything on your own, no one knows you, stay out my business, I'm at peace. Fam, we weren't designed to just be on an island by ourselves. We weren't designed to be like that. So I get it about convenience. If I had my way, I would rather not interact a lot, right? But it's necessary that we do these things. We check on each other. We look out for each other. So when things happen, it's crazy. You're the first thing that pops on their mind. Even though you might call them every now and then, even though you might holler at them every now and then, this will be a lifesaver to you if something like this happens. So that's why I'm encouraging us to get back to our communities, get back to interaction. It doesn't have to mean that we all buddy, all of this and that, but just check on each other. Look out for each other. Share a little bit about yourself to leave a lasting impression. And then also be concerned about your neighbors, fam. That's another lesson that I learned through this. You know, I watched this video with this couple. They was up in the mountains and they was stranded for weeks. They couldn't get in, they couldn't get out. They had saved, they got their generator going, they ran out of gas, they had all of this stuff, and everything was crumbling around them. But no one really knew them or even knew whether they was up there full time or not. But it just so happened that this guy had a little mirror and he was reflecting it, and one of the helicopters saw the reflection. And my question is, you, my friend, do you want to put your family in a situation like that? Do you really want to place yourself in a situation like that? We need each other, fam, whether we like it or not. And we got to build that community. That's another lesson I won't forget. Not only does stuff don't matter, Not only do we need to build a community, no matter, look, whether you're prepping or not prepping, you can prep all you want to. You can have your bags, you can have your satchels, you can have all of this stuff. You can have your trucks, and you can have your what do they call them storm shelters. You can have all of that stuff, and one catastrophic event could change your whole world, and everything you worked and saved for is gone. That's why the great book of life talks about taking care of the birds, taking care of the animals, and man not having a place to lay his head. Because it was never designed for us to just store up so much stuff. We need to invest in people. We need to invest in each other. The reason why we need to invest in each other, because that's the help sustaining life. And that's what the creator is interested in. The creator is not interested in this tangible physical stuff, but we put so much energy and effort, and we become enslaved to this stuff. Now, granted, we need things. I'm not saying that, but a lot of this stuff we don't even need. We don't even need, but we work tirelessly for it. Country Dreaming, what's going on? What's going on? Good to see you. Good to see you. What's up? What's up? Making it make sense. It need to make some sense. If you're gonna say something, make it make sense. Country Hustle, what's going on? Country Hustle 1-on-1. I'm big fat watermelon. What's going on? Bless up, bless up. I appreciate that, y'all. Thank you for hitting the like button. I appreciate it. Thank you for putting it out there. Thank you. So Belinda speaks of some lessons that she has learned, which is love mine. They are a blessing, always helping. Free cow compost, seed, and lots of info about land and time. We ought to get something out of people struggles and people challenges. Another thing that I've learned through this and observing a lot of people going through what they're going through, another thing that I learned is that I want to make sure I say this right, but I want to be like clear about what I'm saying. But we need to make sure that what we live for and invest in is meaningful. It's meaningful. Imagine a family that was already struggling, barely able to make ends meet. And then you get a situation where I lost my job, I lost my transportation, I lost my home, I just went to the grocery store, I lost everything. And my question is, as you prepped and got yourself, and as we live this journey of life, what are we doing, fam? What are we doing as far as our journey? Are we living meaningful, intentional lives? Or are we just doing what we need to do for ourselves and for our family? And there's nothing wrong with that, but there should be something to the part where we like, man, when we were leaving, not this hurricane, we stayed this hurricane because we weren't, quote, threatened according to what we saw. But the first hurricane, it was semi-aligned to where we were. So we left. But I rode on so many empty highways because we took all country roads to where we left to go to. We didn't take no major thoroughfares because we knew what was going to be the situation. But I passed so many empty churches, building. And when I say church, I'm talking about the building. I passed by so many grandiose. We would be in the middle of nowhere where hardly no homes, but we'll see 2-story church buildings, worship centers, whatever you want to call it. And they were empty. And I talked to people, and we had a death in our family during that last hurricane. And we had family to come from all over, and they said they couldn't have a place to stay because there was so many storm evacuees that were pretty much booking hotels all over the place, and there was a lot of places where they could not stay, and they had to stay at this place that was not the best place, but they did find a place. But it was talking about people that was turned away that couldn't find places. And I'm saying, if you are a spiritual person and you go to these establishments, consider sharing this social media and this life whenever a storm comes, because they will come. Consider opening up these places for the people to go. You have electric, you have water, you have a shelter. Why not share those buildings with the people? And I know it might eat away from the building fund. I know it may eat away from the flat screen TVs and the roof repair, but at least give them the parking spaces. Some people just got RVs. They just want a place to park. Why not send out a broadcast and share it with your members and just say, hey, here's a place for some people to come, because they're just sitting empty. And the place is for the people, right? Why not open them up for the people? Why not allow them to have a shelter there? And I'm not saying people don't do that and organizations, but it's a lot of them that didn't. I passed by so many that were just closed. They were just there. And the lights were on. I heard the AC running on a few of them, and no one was in there. And I'm like, that would be a perfect time, especially if people, like, for example, people leaving Florida. You know where they're going. They're going to Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, wherever. They're getting away from the storm. Why not, if you're in South Georgia, South Alabama, right? Why not say, hey, we will allow you to come and spend the night or spend 2 nights or whatever. You got to bring all your necessities or whatever you need. We will allow you to utilize our facilities. And we got running water, we got toilets. We might not can accommodate a lot of people, but we can accommodate some. And then when you get your max, you can just have a network to send them to the next place and to the next place. You know what I'm saying? It seems like with technology and stuff, we could just do a little bit better than what we're doing. That's all I'm saying. What's up, Vision? What's going on? What's going on? I'm checking on y'all. So now, y'all, let me know how y'all doing. Let me know. First of all, have you been impacted by the storm? Have someone in your family been impacted by the storm? Or even if it's not storm related, we got people that's losing their jobs. We got people where they having health issues. We got people who is trying to take care of family members, who trying to do this. Some people got a lot of different frustration, just aggravation, the inflation. They're watching prices go up and they can't keep up. I'm just going through things that I encountered just this week, fam. It's a lot been happening. And I know things happen every day, but I done dealt with death. I done dealt with hurricane issues. I done dealt with people talking about their Social Security, disability benefits being cut. I done dealt with job loss. I done dealt with relationships. I done dealt with family issues. A lot is going on. And I know I'm not by myself. So I'm just asking you all, let's chat for a little bit. Let's talk for a little bit. And let's release some positive vibrations, and let's give it up. Release it, let it go. Because we all going through some changes, right? We all going through changes. I appreciate that. Thank you. I appreciate that. But we all going through changes. So how are you dealing with it? What are your takeaways? Or what are you being challenged with, right? Because right now, if you left tomorrow and they say, we no longer need your service. And you went to your job, and about lunchtime, they let you go. What would change in your life? Where would you go? Could you maintain? Where would you look for another job? Would you look for another job? Would you sell everything? Would you go and live out in the woods? But even if you live out in the woods, fam, I'm trying to tell you, it can be expensive. And I shared a video on my channel about this. I think she was 77-year-old woman where she'd been living in a car for 4 years, and she's sharing some insights of things that she's done to survive. Where in this world of plenty where we now find comfort in living in our cars? Some of us are more comfortable living in our cars than in our homes or living with each other. And for some reason, I don't know what it is, most of us would rather live in our car than living with a family member. Rather than combining your resources, rather than putting things together or even allowing somebody to come in and put their resources with yours and y'all cohabitate. I'm just wondering what's going on. Why are we so distant, fam? And why are we continue to be so distant? Heading your way, going to the Mayo Clinic, praying for good news. Let us send out some thoughts and prayers to Belinda. Belinda, I'm praying for healing. I'm praying for restoration. And I'm praying for safe travels. I'm praying for the doctors, for the nurses. I'm praying for the gas station attendants. I'm praying for the road construction people. Praying for your vehicle that make it there safely. I'm praying for everything to be good and to be nothing but restoration in your life. And I hope and I pray that everything goes well. And I know it will, because we all together are praying for you. And we know that healing and good news is on your way. We got a lot of things going on, fam. And like I said, me and Belinda, we ain't by ourselves, and we know it. And although we're going through changes, we know that these changes, if we share them after we've gone through these changes, it can be beneficial to others. And we need to talk a little bit more. We need to share a little bit more, because for some reason we have normalized walking into this world, into this place, to walk into a room, not make eye contact, look at our phones, sit down next to an individual, not say nothing, not have concern, not even be observant of our situation. And we sit, and then we walk just say we're in the waiting room. Let's just go through this. Say we go into the doctor's office. We walk into a doctor's office. Say it's a dentist. We go in, we check in. Sometimes the person that check in don't say hello. Sometimes they may not even greet you. Sometimes we just go on our app, we check in, and we sit down, and we sit next to someone. We don't look at them. We don't talk to them. We look at our phones. We interact with our phones. We don't say anything. And then we wait. Either the app will let us know or someone will let us know. They make sure that they take all of our information, make sure our information is up to date as far as billing, our insurance, method of payment. Sometimes we pay before we even get service. And then on the way out, we'll still get another payment that's made on our way out. But we go back there in back of the room, and we sit in a chair, and we lay our heads, and we open our mouth, and we say nothing. And people will come and take out some tools and devices and ask us to open our mouth, and we open up wide, and they will stick devices and tools in our mouth, and they'll do whatever they have to do, and we trust them. We put ourselves in the most vulnerable situation, and we don't even have a conversation with them. We don't even talk with them. Most of the time, we don't even know their name or even care to know their name. And we living in a world where technology is going to take over your job. We're living in a world where disaster is going to happen. We're living in a world where sickness will happen. We're going to be lonely. We're going to be isolated, but we're going to have a big old friend zones, a bunch of likes, a bunch of followers. We're going to have a bunch of subscribers. We're going to have a bunch of this, but we're not going to have a physical relationship with people. And that's the world that we're painting. But we're going to need each other physically, y'all. We're going to physically need each other. Because we're going to feel this, we're going to have this void, this emptiness, and we're not going to understand what it is. We're not going to understand that when you're laying sick in the bed and someone to call you and they say, "Hey, how you doing, Eco? I'm doing pretty good. I appreciate you checking on me." And then we feel our blood flow getting a little bit stronger. We feel that serotonin's just going through our body. We feel a little warmer. Our skin get a little flush. The color comes back in our skin just from a simple call, from a simple hello, how you doing? Or someone coming up and just seeing you when you can't go nowhere, you can't do nothing, you're on your backside, you can't move. But guess what you've done? You have invested when you was good for this situation to happen. And you don't realize that just sometimes it's not the medicine, it's not the IV, but it was that call. It was that support. It was just somebody talking to you or saying kind words and words of encouragement that really activated your body, because most of the time it ain't the medication that's healing you. The medication is suppressing what you're feeling in most cases and allowing time in your body to heal itself. But where do we talk about the message where a smile, a hello, a holding of the hand, a caressing of the skin, the face, a prayer, a positive word? Where do we talk about the healing process with that? Because we have gone away from that. And what I would love for us to do is get closer to that. Because I'm doing a status check. Y'all let me know how you doing. What's up? What's up, B Rich? What's up, man? What's going on? Good to see you, B Rich. Thank you for the super chat too as well. Thank you, sir. How you doing? How you feeling? Hope you're doing good. Hope everything is positive in your life. I hope everything that you dream about, that you wish for, if it's going to be beneficial to you, I hope it come to life, and I hope it come in abundance. You know, this is the thing that we got to take these nuggets, because we see these different things. You know, well, let's go to the secular world. We see people gossiping, people sharing information from back in 20 and 30 years from now. We see an election. We seeing all kinds of stuff. We seeing people saying mean and cruel and hateful things to each other. And some of us are even saying it amongst ourselves. We in chats and we in comments and we going in. There's a lot of built up pressure and pain. And some of the people that we shooting at and targeting had nothing to do with it. But you got to get rid of it some way, right? You got to let it go some way. Some of us, we feel like, I don't know what's up. I got a job. I'm going to work. I'm taking care of my family. And I'm just tired of the same old, same old. I'm just sick of day in and out. And I feel like I'm not getting nowhere. I just feel like I'm surviving barely. And I'm just not getting nowhere. Be encouraged. Know that your work and what you're doing is needed. And this is only just for a season. What you're going through is only for a season. And you're going to find that a lot of this stuff we do and what we work for, it means nothing. A lot of these things that we feel like are valuable, they're not valuable. And how do you outpace inflation? Is you don't participate in it. And people say, how you not participate in it? You know, when you growing and you utilize the natural resources, you can offset a lot of inflation. When you have land and you grow and you work your land and you build infrastructure in your land, you dig a well, or you have a well dug for you. You have a septic tank dug for you. My daughter, I had a conversation with my daughter, my youngest, and she said, my mind was blown when I found out y'all had to pay for trash. Some of us young people, they don't even understand that when you own a house, you pay for sewage, you pay for waste, you pay for water. You not only pay taxes, you pay a lot of different things, you know. Her mind was blown to know that our game cams, we pay a monthly fee for our game cams. She was like, you pay for that? Yes. In order to get that notification, let you know that something's walking by or walking in or walking around, you got to pay for that. And everything that we're encountering in life is being monetized. And it's all because we don't want to create nothing. We just want to consume. The moment you start having a mindset of creating is the moment you start changing the trajectory of your life. The moment you start noticing things are much more valuable. We have everything we need, but the moment you start thinking about, I am going to be creator of whatever I'm consuming. I'm not going to keep consuming. I'm going to start creating. And some people say, man, don't create anything. Okay, I get that. But what I want you to do is follow me about what I'm saying. I don't create water, but I dug my own well instead of tapping into the water system. I have to do a initial payout, which is huge. But now I don't have the burden every single month and every single day of the year based on my usage to being obligated to someone else. So that's what I mean by creating. It's unplugging from systematic things. And then guess what? Yes, we got electricity, but if I had to shut it off, I got things to live off of. If I lost my revenue, I still can keep my lights on. I got solar panels. I have alternatives, right? Having alternatives empowers you. If you know you got one source of income and that's your only source of income, then you feel enslaved, you feel trapped, you feel burdened. But by you having a diversified amount of resources for your income, guess what happens? It makes you feel empowered. It frees you from being obligated. If you're growing your own food and you might eat out of it, but you still go to the grocery store, and when the price of, just say, tomatoes go up, you say, I really don't need those tomatoes. I'm growing my own tomatoes. Or if I see the price of certain livestock or fish or whatever product goes up, and I'm building and growing my own, it gives you options. And what I'm trying to express to you is stop getting caught up in the things that are created and manufactured for convenience and start focus on the natural resources of life. Because what's going to happen to you, you're going to see a transformation in your mindset in the things you look for. I used to love washing my car almost every single day of the week. Now I see my car in a totally different fashion now. When I was younger, if it rained, I just was like, man, it's raining. The moment the rain stops, even if it's going to rain the next day, I wash my car. I shine my car. I buff my car. But guess what would happen? Rust was still coming. The armor all will fall off the tires. Dirt and dust would happen. And I kept washing. Guess what happened? The paint faded. The rubber started getting dried out. It was deteriorating. That's the same thing about this stuff in life. A lot of the things we just so focused on. We got to have 5 bedrooms. We got to have 4 baths. We got to have this boat. We got to have this. We got to have that. And we realized that it can be taken just like that. And then we're left with, what are we doing? Where are we? But it's crazy. If I got a little bungalow that I could pay for in 2 or 3 years, and I have resources and different things, and then it's all gone, and I don't have a lot of stuff, the first thing I'm thinking is, man, it's screwed up. I'm in the same situation as the person that had a lot, but I'm not grieving as much because I know I can obtain those things real quickly, real shortly, versus someone who had stacks and stacks and stacks of stuff. And nothing wrong with that, but invest in people. Invest in people and not this stuff. Because what's going to happen is I can have a bungalow and I can have a great relationship, not with abundance of people, with only maybe a few. And those few would help me more than abundance of knowing a lot of people with no relationships. It's about value and understanding your value. Winterizing a few pepper plants at the moment and listening. It's cold is coming, fam. Cold is coming. And I think the almanac had said, even though we don't know, none of us know, but it said we're going to have a colder than normal winter in the South of the United States. That's remained to be seen. But what we can do, we can grow as much as we can can as much as we can harvest as much as we can, but then understand that, look, don't stack too much, don't focus too much on it, focus on day by day. Nothing wrong with saving, nothing wrong with putting things to the side, nothing wrong with preparing for the winter, because as I said before, fall is gathering time, fall is harvesting time, enough to take you to the spring. Not for a long period of time, not for years upon years. You know, you had this guy that stored up a bunch of stuff called Y2K. I remember this guy. He was a preacher, and he stored up so many bottles of water and all this kind of stuff. And a lot of his stuff went to spoil because he was preparing for Y2K. And I think about a lot of that stuff he stored up and he stacked up. He could have saved a lot of people. It's some people who he came in contact where he could have helped them not only with the morale, because some people they tired. There's some people out there who they don't know how they're gonna pay their light bill, they don't know how they're gonna pay their mortgage, they don't know how they're gonna pay this, and they hungry and they have empty refrigerators and they got responsibilities like kids, right? And they don't know where it's coming from. But imagine you being able to bless somebody and give somebody something in that moment, in that time. That's a morale booster. That's a pump. That's an injection, and to keep on pushing. You know what I'm saying? So there's nothing wrong with storing, nothing wrong with building enough for the season or what have you. But let us not go so far in excess to the part where we forget about the people that's around us so much that we ignore. Here I'm seeing somebody who needs something, but I'm worried about the election, and I'm worried about who may be in office, and I'm storing up for when that person coming in office, that I'm forgetting about this person right here that's needing, that I know that I got access to. Invest in people, because you never can tell. That person might be in a better situation when you don't have anything, right? Or by you investing in people, guess what? The Creator may rain down blessings upon you just because of what you invested in. What What's up, brother Lawrence? What's going on, man? What's going on? Good to see you. Good to see you, my brother. Vision. Miss Cherokee 70. Hey, Eco. I'm here listening. That's good. I appreciate you listening. I appreciate y'all coming in. But tell me, let's talk, fam. I'm opening up the forum. Put it down. Tell me, what's your status? How you doing? How are you doing? Everybody's speaking, but how are you doing? Are you good in your life? Is everything good with you? You know, I want to know. I'm curious to know. I'm always sharing everything about me. Tell me a little bit about you. Are you good? Is everything good with you? Because I am concerned. I see a lot of frequent subscribers and a lot of frequent people. You know what I'm saying? But I don't never know how you doing. I'm just curious on how you making it. Yes, gathering time. Time is the most precious commodity, my friends. Time is so precious. Learning to grow my own. What's going on? What's going on? Bless up, bless up. Brother Lawrence said he's thankful. He's super thankful. I'm thankful. Send it up. Send up them blessings, y'all. Send up them blessings, because I'm telling you, while you got breath in your body, this is the time to give praise. While you are able to raise your head, this is the time to give praise, because there's a lot going on. And we can't do it by ourselves. We can't make it out on our own. There's going to come a time in your life where you're going to need somebody that you didn't know you needed. There's going to be a time in your life where somebody's going to bless you that you didn't expect. But make sure you invest in people, because investing in people is so important. Don't lose sight of investing in people. I know the world seems a little sketchy, seems a little crazy, but how can you influence your brother man if you never speak to your brother man? How can you uplift your brother man if you never speak to your brother man? How can you give words of encouragement to your brother man if you never say anything to your brother man? It used to be unheard of in the South to walk around and amongst people not to speak, but now it's common. Not to have an engaging conversation. They used to call it Southern hospitality. Some people call it being nosy. You know what I'm saying? But it's funny about some nosy people. When you're going through some struggle, when you're going through some tribulation, and when people nosy, some of them nosy people have been some of the most helpful people in my life. Some of them people that just digging and dabbing, they trying to figure out a way that they can. I know somebody. I tell you what, I'm gonna call such and such, and I do you know such and such? Well, let me see. And sometimes it didn't amount to nothing, but man, it was a morale booster that somebody cared to think enough about helping me. We got to get back to that. So Vision say, we are good in Ohio, getting ready for the winter. Very thankful. The winter, as we know, what happens in winter? Every winter, it get cold. People get silent. Not a lot of movement. Not a lot of activity in the northern region. In Florida, we get movement. But they're saying that Florida is transforming because of these storms. We always have hurricanes, but I haven't seen the frequency like this, and the devastation on a continuous basis. I haven't seen it like this. But I've seen devastation over the years. And I was telling a good friend of mine, I had a conversation. You know who you are. He asked me, what do y'all do in Florida? I say a lot of Floridians, like Floridians, not the one season, 5 years or less, but Floridians have been in Florida over multiple decades. A lot of us live on the outskirts of town. And when a town is hit, we automatically know that if our job or something like that was hit, we doing two things. We going probably to the unemployment office, and we're going to the next town. In most cases, we go to the nearest town that was not impacted. And guess what we're doing? We're trying to be first to go look for a job. When we hit in Florida, we'll drive 50 miles one way. We'll drive 40 miles because Florida is not that wide in certain areas. Now, North Florida is very wide, but as you go down through Central and South Florida, is not that wide. You can be in Orlando and you be in Tampa about an hour or so. You can be in Daytona about an hour or so. So some of us will commute. If our jobs and everything was impacted, we'll go and we'll commute to the other side of Florida. And we'll work there for a little while till everything gets restored and get built back up. And then we'll try to find a job somewhere closer to us. Floridians are so resilient, but we have more good days than we have bad days. When we have bad, we do have bad days. But what we do, we find alternative ways. Most people don't know in Florida, the pay is not that great. Now, certain jobs, yeah, you're going to get paid, but the majority of the workforce, you don't get paid. I made more money in Georgia than I did in Florida. And it still holds true today. But now, one thing, the lifestyle in Georgia, even though some people say it ain't much different, you're right across the line. There's a lot of things that's different. Number one, law enforcement is different in Florida versus Georgia. That's a big thing. And me as being African American, that's very important to me. Another thing is everything costs in Georgia versus Florida. You can go to a state park and you got to pay. There's plenty of state parks where you don't have to pay. There's some state parks where you do. Most cities and communities will have parks, will have outdoor things that you can do that you don't have to pay. A lot of things that I noticed, like in Georgia, is privately owned. Everything privately owned, no trespassing, keep out. It's very limited, right? And it's a different tone. It's a different vibe. Now, the job market is better to me in Georgia than it is in Florida, right? So you can make a good living in Georgia, and your housing is cheaper in most places, not all, but in most places, your housing is cheaper. But in Florida, it's like you're nowhere from a beach, you're nowhere from outdoor activities. The vibe is different. Most people don't come there to be sad. Most people come there to be happy. So the vibe is different. And most of the employees in Florida ain't doing no backbreaking work and they ain't going for it. So if you got some machinery, you'll have the same. I've seen the same businesses of being Florida. It could be warehouse distribution or any manufacturing. The same business, they can have one office in Florida and another office in Georgia, and I've worked both. And in Georgia, you'll have a piece of equipment that may work in the beginning and no longer work, then they're still doing it manually. And then in Florida, if it ain't working, they ain't working. You know, people come and go so fast in Florida. People like, you could be working next to somebody and they'd be there this week and be gone next week. And then you get new people from all over the world that comes to Florida, which makes it more interesting, and it makes it probably harder on the employer. It makes it a little bit more challenging because if the conditions are not right, it makes it challenging for them to hire and retain. But now, what I notice in Georgia, if you're in a town, small town, now when I say Georgia, I never talk about Atlanta. Atlanta is a state by itself. It's almost like Miami. Miami is another state. It's really not in Florida. It's in Florida, but it's not in Florida. Atlanta and the surrounding area is the same thing. But the rest of Georgia, the abundance of the rest of Georgia, if you're in that area, you better find that good job in that area and you pretty much kind of hold on. You know what I'm saying? Because there's not a lot of different alternatives if it's paying well. In Florida, it's pretty much across the board. The pay sucks. You know, you either in hospitality, you in this, you might be in government, you might work for private corporations. They have their little satellite buildings so they can come and do their retreats and all that stuff down there in Florida. And it's like a subsidiary of the main headquarters. It's not like the main hub or nothing, right? So the vibe is real chill. The people are real chill, which makes it different in Florida. I don't know how in the world I got off on that, but something just made me talk about it. What's up, Juicing with Jay, all the way from Cali? What's going on, my brother? Good to see you. Bless up, bless up, bless up. Good to see you, my brother. Ordinary Chick, what's going on? Good to see you, Ordinary Chick. Long time no see. Tommy Bites, how you doing? Hope you and your family are doing well. I know y'all been going through some challenging time, and thoughts and prayers are definitely out with you all. And you stay strong, my sister. Stay strong, because I know you're going through some challenging situations. Don't start because people think Atlanta is a state for real. Atlanta is a state. Atlanta and surrounding areas is a state. And Miami will tell you we not in Florida. I mean, people in Miami will be like, hey, we need to move the capital down here. You know, they be having these arguments. They want to move the capital from Tallahassee to Orlando to Miami. One time they even talked about Tampa, but you know, it is what it is. Those large cities, they make things move differently. You know what I'm saying? And one of the things that I noticed is Atlanta has a lot of new movements, have a lot of people coming from all over the world, but a large majority of Atlanta is all these small communities that they leave these small towns and they move up to Atlanta. And it's crazy because even in my class, my graduating class, it's been times where we had more classmates in Atlanta than we had in our hometown. It's just crazy, but it happens like that. And that's what happens with a large number of major cities. And you can't go to Atlanta and then go to Cordele, Georgia, and feel like the vibe is the same. You can't go to even Atlanta and feel like Warner Robins is the same thing, because they're not. I mean, they're totally different. The vibe is totally different. But yeah, you know, much love to you. Atlanta is exhausting now. Atlanta, I'm not gonna talk about Atlanta because Shy ain't here. You know, I respect Shy, and Shy is ride or die ATL. You know, I would love for her to be baptized into the Floridian way, but I don't think she built for it. But nevertheless, Atlanta is exhausting. You said that. I didn't say that. Be rich. I mean, I would agree. I don't think I ever been rejuvenized going to Atlanta. I don't think I ever been recharged going to Atlanta. So I mean, it is what it is. The city of Atlanta, I know she's gonna chime in. The city of Atlanta is fine. Those other cities are not Atlanta. I agree. That's why I say Atlanta could be its own state. And when I say Atlanta, I mean the close touching surrounding metropolitan area. It could be its own state within itself. I mean, you look at population, you look at finance, you look at everything. It could be its own state within itself. And it is what it is, you know. It's one of them things, you know. And people move different in Atlanta than they do the rest of the state. Tommy Bike says that's like people think Charlotte should be the capital of North Carolina, and they think Charleston should be the capital of South Carolina. A lot of times, the crazy thing about these cities, when they were first established, like Georgia had multiple capitals. They had Savannah, they had Macon, they had Augusta, they had Atlanta. It's so many different capitals that some of these states had, but it was all about revenue. It was all about doing business for the state. And I think what makes Georgia such a good fit, because they kind of put the state capital almost in the center of the state. Now, Macon would be an ideal if that was the capital, because Macon is kind of dead in the center of the state of Georgia. I think there was a burn or fire or something like that. I know it was a fire in Atlanta, but I think there was a fire also in Macon, which transitioned to Atlanta maybe like an hour 10, hour 15 minutes. If there was no traffic, maybe about like an hour or so north of Macon. But states that put their capitals in the center of where they're doing business, they typically do well. And at one time, people don't know. Some people don't know. Some people do. In Florida, if you went south of like around Ocala, most of that stuff was swamps. You know, you got Miami and stuff. They had to dredge. You see a bunch of canals. The further south you go in Florida, you see a bunch of canals. It's just to drain the water. So, fam, nothing negative about the people, what they're going through. You got to understand, long time ago, most people did not want to go further south of Gainesville, really. when it came to Florida because it was mainly swampland. It was mainly marshland with a little pockets of solid land, but they dug all these canals through here. And then we say, dog, it flooded. I would have never understand. It was naturally designed to be marsh land. People talk about Everglades. It was the majority Everglades, with pockets of dry land around. That's why the Native Americans, that's why African Americans, they ran there, because they ran into those areas in South Florida where most people wouldn't dare to go. But they dredged a lot of that. But going back to the capital a long time ago, the majority of the population of Florida was mainly like in Gainesville, Jacksonville, St. Augustine, and Pensacola. There was really nothing too much in between. So all the politicians says, I want to meet a common place. They wanted to put it in St. Joe, down by Apalachicola Bay, but they end up choosing Tallahassee because it was in the center between Jacksonville and Pensacola. So they made Tallahassee the capital of the state by convenience, because there were no South Florida really. That wasn't where all the politicians, all the state leaders were. It was mainly around St. Augustine, Jacksonville, and Pensacola. So they found Tallahassee to be right there, smack in the center, and that's why Tallahassee is the capital. And from that point on, it remains the capital. There's been a lot of bids where multiple states wanted to have the capital moved. They talked about it's hard to get to. There's no real air travel. There's no easy way to get to Tallahassee. So it's been a lot of warring and tugging about it. But for right now, I think it's one of the safest places to be in Florida. You know, if you look at all the devastation and everything like that, we have storms, but Tallahassee is one of the nooks in the cranny. I think it was a great location. And then you have the Mag Lab right there, which is the largest magnet in the United States. If not one of the largest magnets, period, in the world, which it can control or manipulate certain things from hazards from coming there. It's been proven. It's been a fact. So there's a lot of different benefits in having it right there in Tallahassee. So yeah, Macon. What? Yeah, Macon. Macon was the capital at one time in the GA. And like I said, I think it's Savannah and Augusta too was the capital in Georgia. So yeah, but if Macon was, think about the corridor, think about commerce, think about during that time it was train travel, think about highways and thoroughfares. Being in the center of a state, it just makes things a whole lot better. You know, long in the early days, a lot of capitals were established based on where the water and the import exports were. So a lot of states had capitals to easily import export items out. One of the first capitals, I think, was Savannah, because the import export. But then as trains, cars, trucks, and the transportation, a lot of things changed where the strategies were to get in. Import exports came in. I'm tripping. I got you. Okay, you don't have that making thing. Nothing going on and make. Well, to be honest with you, I'm dating myself, Shy. I know you're younger than me, but I remember when nothing going in Atlanta. Atlanta was very similar to Macon back in the days. I remember when Atlanta, I'm dating myself, in the late 70s and the early 80s, there was nothing in Atlanta. Atlanta was like a big city with just nothing. I mean, you go there and on Sundays it shuts down. Downtown when nothing going on. It's no people hanging around. It was empty. I mean, in certain times of the year, like I said, I'm dating myself, but I remember Atlanta, it was nothing. And then there goes the 90s when a lot of the new industry started to change and a lot of things changed, and it became more of I think the music industry and the entertainment industry started coming in and trickling in, and then it totally transformed Atlanta. But Atlanta, when I remember in the early 80s, I would go up to Atlanta because I had family members in Atlanta, and there wasn't nothing going on. Wasn't nothing. It was, and on the weekend, downtown Atlanta was nothing. It was boring. You know, you heard the clock go off, and that's about it. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. Everything changes. Everything changes. Latest chemical fire was in Rockdale County. Yeah, somebody told me that there was a big chemical spill, and some people are being affected. I had a subscriber told me that they lost all of their fish in their pond due to that chemical fire. And my heart goes out to everyone, and y'all got to understand that all of this devastation, it comes with, we might see it on the news maybe for 4 or 5 seconds, but these people got to live with this. These people got to stay with this. And it brings me back to what I was saying, that, man, do not invest in this stuff. We should not be so dedicated to this stuff that we pour our everything into this stuff. You know what I'm saying? We got to be prepared to be nomads sometimes. We have to be prepared to get up and move on, you know, because this stuff, it's expected to come and go. And the longer I live, the more I truly understand this, you know. God forbid if a storm came, which in Florida, you subconsciously, if you've been here in Florida, every year mentally you psych yourself up to be like, I might lose everything. Every year hurricane season comes around, right? And so you mentally says, I need to get my mind ready to, I might lose everything, right? And I might need to make sure that I get as much revenue as I can for what I invest in. So it makes you buy things and invest things in a different way. That's why we don't be dressed down to the suit and boot. If you know Floridians, man, we'll go to a business meeting in a polo and some shorts, or some slip and slides, or we'll go in the professional setting in some slip and slides, because not just due to the weather, but it's just due to the vulnerability of you. Your mindset is not focused on all of this materialistic stuff. Then you go up north and they suited, they got cuffs, they got chain, they got everything. And then it's like, but you're doing that, that's a different culture. Down here, it's like you do $1 million deals in a pair of of just some jeans and maybe a shirt or a polo or whatever. Because if you come to a business meeting in a polo, you can't dress. You know what I'm saying? And so we're just so resilient. You know, you don't wear a lot of designer this and designer that because you're walking in sand all day. Or you just out here in the country. It's almost like being in the country. If you're in the country, if you get outside of Orlando, you get outside of Miami, you get outside of Tampa, most of this ain't nothing but country. Most people don't know that Florida is nothing but country. And they're like leaders in cattle. People don't understand that. You know, yeah, we got agriculture. Our agriculture is strong, right? So a lot of people, they don't do a lot of grandiose things, you know. Like I said, you got Miami's, but even certain parts of Miami is not all of that. It's very relaxed, because you know at any time you might need a book and you need to get your stuff and you need to go. You know, I used to remember when my great uncles and my great aunts, whenever the hurricane came, because I grew up in Georgia and my father lived in Miami, and I would spend my summers in Miami. I spend the rest of the year in South Georgia, and everybody would come up to Georgia. And they'll spend weeks, and we'll have cookouts, we'll do all that. And it's all because of hurricane or a storm. You know what I'm saying? They bring their whole family. Some of them had RVs, they had all that kind of stuff. And I was as a child in little small rural Georgia, I was like, man, is everybody in Florida rich? Is everybody just got money from Florida. It seemed like all my great aunts and all my great uncles, they just seemed to be balling. But you know what they did? They houses weren't big. They had brick, they had concrete block stucco type houses. Back in the days, 20 some odd $1,000. They had the asphalt roofs, or they had the tile roofs, and they had the little small yards, but they invested in things like RVs. They invested in boats. They invested in stuff that they can enjoy life. It was a different mindset. And I was attracted to it. And every time I go visit my dad, he didn't have no big house. He had all this other stuff, but we just did so much enjoyment for his life. We went to these parks. We went to the beaches. We got on the boats. We went fishing. We went crabbing. We did so many things that matter, and it was about your time and your quality of time. Yeah, he worked his butt off, but when he got off, it was party time. And that's what he did. And I just always like that enjoying your time. And so all the stuff that they acquired, it was like, the shoes were sandals. You know what I'm saying? The clothing was more like light, airy, not heavy. No minks, none of them furs, none of them big leather jackets. They might have had a leather jacket, but they might have wore it 1 or 2 days out the year when it hit 60 degrees down in Miami. Sometimes they'll be freezing. Oh, it's 50 degrees. We about to freeze, But it was none of that. It was like just regular stuff, regular smuggler stuff. Because one thing about Florida, and South Florida especially, you walk out, go to a grocery store, they didn't have these laid perms and this and that and the hair, and all these candy curls and all that. They didn't have that. Most of them had froze, natural hair before it was popular, dreads or whatever, because it rained all the time. It could break out raining. Next thing you know, you sweating. It's hot. You perspiring all over up underneath your arm. So people was just relax and chill, and they understood that this stuff comes and it goes. And so that's why it hits so much different down here, because every year you're reminded that you could lose everything. Every single year you're reminded you can lose everything. And I think that's what makes it, my heart goes out to a lot of people that's not used to that, because now I guarantee you they're going to start thinking about some of the stuff that they have acquired over the years, and is it really worth it when they get ready to rebuild? Because they're going to start to see this stuff really not worth it. It's not worth doing all of this, not worth all of that. Enjoy life, enjoy the benefits and the environment, and enjoy where you are, and don't invest so much into stuff. Mother Earth and Father God want their land back to how it was, perhaps. We were put here for a reason, right? Question is, are we doing our job as humans? Are we doing our job? And if we're not doing our job, guess what happens? When you go to a job, you're not doing your job, guess what's going to happen? You're probably going to get fired eventually. You're going to get fired eventually, and guess what's going to happen? You're going to get replaced. Woe to man, woe to all man. That's why people feel Charleston should be the capital. Gotcha. I wanted to. I came close to Tommy Bites. I couldn't, when I was first a young man trying to get out of Georgia. I wanted to move to Florida. I wasn't getting the jobs that I really felt like I should have got in the places I wanted to be. I had specific places I wanted to be in Florida. I didn't want Jacksonville. Didn't want Jacksonville at all. Jacksonville reminded me too much of Georgia. Didn't want Jacksonville. Didn't want Pensacola. But I really wanted Orlando. I didn't want Miami. I spent enough time in Miami. Didn't want Miami. Too much for me. Too many. But Orlando at that time was where I wanted to really be at. But Orlando pay sucks. I mean, I was making more money in a small southern town in Georgia at the time than I would be doing the same job in Orlando. I didn't know that. I didn't realize job after job I got, the pay was suck. So the people in Orlando, shout out to y'all. How y'all make it? How y'all make ends meet? Much love, much respect. Beautiful place, beautiful location. But the people that actually live there, the job market and the pay sucks. So I couldn't get a job there. And I had said, I'm giving up. I didn't want to give up on Florida. I'm giving up. And now I want to move to, what other state do I want to move to? And North Carolina was the state that I chose. And I wanted to move to Charlotte. I really wasn't particular just Charlotte. I was open. But I got a job in Charlotte. I applied. I got a job rather quickly, and I was staying in a hotel up in Charlotte, Gastonia. I think it was Gastonia, right outside of Charlotte. I was staying in Gastonia, and I got ready to get up that morning to go to work. And that evening it got a little cool, but I woke up that morning and it was like a thick little, maybe an inch of ice over my whole entire car. I couldn't get in it. I couldn't do nothing. And I wasn't used to that. I wasn't used to it at all. I didn't have no way to get the ice off. And I had to go to work. And I was freezing that morning. I think I took my license and tried to carve out a little spot to get into the car. And I made the determination that Carolina is not for me. And based on that, I did not go to that job. I got my stuff out of that motel room. And once that sun came up and it thawed out the car, I put my stuff in the car and I drove back to Georgia, and I continued my journey looking for a job in Florida. That's my story with the Carolinas. I mean, I love the Carolinas. They're beautiful, but the cold, I just can't do. I ain't built for it. I ain't built for it. Even though I do better health-wise now that I'm older in the cold. So I might be open a little bit more now that I'm older to the Carolinas, but man, it's just so cold. I'm allergic to cold. I'm just allergic to cold. I don't know what it is. Somebody said flip-flops. If you make an address that not say Atlanta, you're not in Atlanta. I don't get that one, Shy. Mailing addresses. Yeah, I know, Shy. There's a difference between downtown Atlanta and College Park and all that. Shy don't believe it, like those surrounding little towns or Atlanta, because in the heart of Atlanta is the heart of Atlanta. But I got you. That's the same way about people in Miami. You ain't from Miami. You from Gould. You from Overtown. You're not from Miami. It's a big difference. Every city they the same way. It's cold here in the mountains. So prayers to those who don't have a roof over their head. It even snowed in upper parts. That's what I'm saying. It's gonna get cold. It's gonna get a little bit more challenging, fam. To those that are there. And let us send up prayers and our thoughts to them, because not only do some of them not have a place, but yeah, it's a challenging making. What okay, I'm behind. I went back behind. I missed that the first time. Shy. Let's see. I covered that story and could not find an update other than it had chlorine in it. Yeah, I mean, man, it's so many things that are happening all over the world, and with this social media, and with it's so much news, and it's so much not positive news, but it's just so many catastrophic events, and they so frequent. They just coming over you. And I don't know, is it me, or do you have to catch yourself from being numb to some of this stuff? Because if you're emotionally connected to this stuff, man, you become an emotional wreck. Yeah, flip flops. That's what I'm talking about. You know about the flip flops. Stay ready so you don't have to get ready. Stay ready. That's right. We always got to stay ready. But sometimes, Tommy, sometimes there's no ready preparedness that you can do with some of this stuff. Some of this stuff, people even people that's lived here for a little bit of time, they haven't seen some of these acts and some of these things that's going on. And that's where the faith system got to come in, and that's where the trust and also investing in people got to come in at. Because I'm telling you, it matters if you invest in the people around you. It also helps having that faith, knowing that you're going to be taken care of, knowing that things going to be okay. And just as the Creator provides for the birds and for the animals, the Creator definitely loves and will take care of man. But you got to trust, and you got to open your mind and open your heart up to knowing that it will happen, it will manifest. Let's see. What's up, Analytic Gardener? What's going on? Bless up, bless up. What's going on? Good to see you. CVR, there you go. What's going on, CVR's Garden Adventures? Good to see you this evening. Good to see you. Is that Green Grass Grows? Good to see you. Y'all, I'm fixing to get ready to get out of here. Didn't want to stay too long, but I just want to chat just for a little while. Just have a conversation. Let's think about, it's a lot of challenging situations going on right now in the world. And a lot of people are being tested, and you're being tested. But at the same time, we got to have love. We got to be concerned about each other. We got to check on each other. We also got to build communities again. We got to reestablish our communities, because as a lot of people been hearing, the government is not going to save you. It's the people. People are our lifeline, our physical lifeline. Even the Creator works through people, right? So, fam, don't lose sight and don't get so caught up into being so comfortable that you isolate yourself. Don't get so comfortable that you cut the world off based on your own personal convenience or what you want all the time. Open up, step outside your comfort zone sometimes, interact, meet people, build relationships. Yes, you're going to open up yourself to be vulnerable sometimes. You're going to get hurt, but that's a part of life. A flower does not choose what is going to pollinate it, but it opens itself up and it presents itself to the best of its ability in hopes that it will get pollinated and it will continue to spread its beautiful gift to the world. So we got to understand there will be sometimes we may lose a few petals. Sometimes through that process of getting to know and building that trust system, we might run into some bad situations, but not all situations are going to be bad, and not all situations are going to be a situation where it deters you from having compassion for one another. But remember to think about one another, to pray for one another, to have concern for one another, and to check on one another. The Analytic Gardener says the freezing rain and blight ice of Charlotte just not. Nah, it's just not for me. I don't know what it is. I don't know how it is. I don't have no concept of understanding how y'all deal with it. That's a gift that you all know how to deal with. Some people say I can't deal with the heat. So I'm struggling with the heat right now too. I mean, the weather is getting warmer and warmer, and it's getting colder and colder. The South is like extreme cold now and extreme hot. So regardless, we're going to have to figure out a way to kind of cope with these things and have to deal with the ever-changing world. We're going to have to adjust to all the different things that we've been going through. I personally have to stay prayed up and take breaks, the news, and be selective of what I bring now. you got to guard yourself. You got to guard your heart. You know what I'm saying? And don't be so, let's see. You're doing a service to people that need it, but also don't be so giving that you don't give back to yourself, if that makes sense. You know, it's almost like you got one extreme or another. You got the givers and you got the takers. And somehow in life, you got to find your middle zone, and you got to store up enough to have enough energy to be able to give to others. So I know that as being a giver, you give and you give, and that's what moves you, that's what motivates you. But at the same time, you still need energy to be able to give to others. So take the time to make sure you be able to decompress, to be able to unplug, and then be able to restore yourself, that you can be a blessing to many, many more. Yeah. Miss Native, yeah. I'm being tested too. We all been tested. We all been tested, fam. What's up, Veggie? Good to see you, Veggie. Always good to see you from way down there in Texas. I hope the deep freeze stays away. I do too. But if it does, we got to roll with it. True. Sometimes you got to let it out too. Yeah, we all got to let it out. We can't hold it in. I was glad to see you go live. Needed the positive vibe. Positive vibes to you, and I need your support. I appreciate you and your support and your transparency and sharing it with others. They say that the prayers of the righteous avail much, but can't nobody pray for you if you don't let somebody know you need prayer. You know, and prayer works. Can't nobody come and check on you if they don't know you need them. You know what I'm saying? So it's a two-way street. You know, it's fine we're able to give, but sometimes we need, and we don't even know we need sometimes. Sometimes in life, we just going on our way, and it's not until our body crashes or shut down, and then we realize, oh my God, I didn't realize I was going that much. And life is about balance. You know, you can't have too much of anything. If you have too much of anything, then it must be checked. You know, if there's too many plants back here, one of too many plants, too many trees out here, one is going to die because the roots are competing against each other. And it's going to kill off the weak or the ones that may not be as strong. And when that one dies, it's going to leave room for something else to come in. So that's the same thing about man. I don't know why we don't understand it. We think we the grandest of all creations, and we are pretty spectacular, but at the same time, we got to be good stewards to the blessings that we have, including our time, our space, our peace, our energy, and our contribution to one another and to this world. So y'all stay well, stay blessed, keep being amazing by being yourself, and don't be silent when you know you need to speak up. And don't be so quiet that you don't tell somebody that you need them. Much love. Y'all stay well, stay blessed, and don't forget to keep on growing. Grow. Till the next time, y'all. Stay well, stay blessed. Love y'all.